fellow JUCO product. And without wasting any more of his time, man, Laker legend, man, one of the greatest defenders in the history of the NBA, Michael Cooper joins the show.
Yes.
Coop.
How you doing?
Good morning, gentlemen. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Loud and clear.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Hey, I don't know what to call you, Michael Cooper, the legendary hooper, or just Coach Cooper now. I love it. I love that you're still coaching, man, and chasing the coaching gig. You just love it that much, man? You just want to be around these babies, or what is it?
Well, they're not babies anymore. No, that's my age.
I still call them baby. You know how it is when you're a coach. Like, they're my baby.
No, I love being around the game. You know, one of the hard parts about retiring after you played, I played 12 years, very fortunate, played 12 years, is the preparation, the camaraderie, the togetherness, all of that. And that's what I miss, but I'm able to get that back when I'm still around these young guys and part of the game of basketball still. No
doubt. I knew when I saw you were over at Chadwick, and I was like, "Dang, he's got to love the game," because there's that's hard to do, man. Because I know, you know, the long Howie Long, obviously NFL legend. His son went there when I was coaching, and I was like, "Dang, that's crazy!" Up in the middle of PV, up there, pretty ass place. And I love being up there. And I'm like, "Dang, Coop's up there." So I know you love the game, man, and everything I had to do with it. So I appreciate you still giving back. JUCO legend, man. Pasadena City, obviously the home of Jackie Robinson and some other legends. I went to Compton. My dad was at Compton when it was all white. It transitioned. Yeah, that's how long. My dad was there in the 50s. He played at Compton High School. And Coop, Compton High and Compton College was on the same campus back then. And they would play Pasadena. Pasadena and Compton were the two powers in JUCO football, which is crazy. A lot of people don't know the JUCO story, but honored to have you on, man. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate that. Yeah, you're right. It was the transformation was drastic too over there. It's all one way. But you know what? It's not about the color. It's about the colors of the school. And Compton was considered one of the best football and basketball schools, as well as track back then too.
Yeah, no doubt. Smitty's here.
Yeah, let's dive into it. But before we dive into your history and the legend that you are, I want to kind of talk about the game today. We're in the NBA Finals. OKC, you got the Pacers, two small market teams facing off against each other. OKC's been the best team all year long by record. But a lot of people probably didn't have the Pacers, you know, in this position, at the beginning of the playoffs. What's your take? You feel like OKC is gonna, take this series, pretty easily, pretty handily, or do you think the Pacers got a real shot?
Well, Smitty, I'm gonna, I do a show out here called Slam Dunk. It's a local show on ABC, and I've been calling out some teams, and especially my team, the Lakers, and all of them have lost. So they call me the resident jinx. So I'm gonna just. You know what? I like both teams. I think the transformation of how basketball has been played like the last 5 or 6 years, especially since the Warriors are not competitive as they were. These are some young teams. Both of them play good, solid team defense. They don't have the so-called marquee stars on their team. They got good players, 2 point guards in Halliburton and SGA. That is not about them. It's about we. And when you have that going for you, and you got two solid coaches, obviously Rick being in Indiana is a very, very competent coach. The coach at OKC, up and coming young coach who has put his team together. Both of them have, and they're playing team basketball. I've always said that teams win championships, not individuals, and that is truly what's happening. So now these guys are. It's not about who gets it done as long as it gets done. And that's the joy I'm enjoying watching. I'm going to watch these two teams. I'm a root for Indiana because I always believe that NBA does better when other teams that have never won a championship win a championship. Okay, they have championship by default in a sense because them coming from Seattle and the Supersonics won back then, but they're in a new market. So again, essentially it'll be their first time championship. So I don't care who wins. I just want a very competitive, and I want a long. I would hope it goes 7 games to draw interest on what these teams have done and these players have done to put themselves in a position to be called a champion.
I love it. So I'm from Indianapolis, Indiana, so I'm definitely rooting for the Pacers. Like you said, it would be historic for them to to get that championship. So we shall see. Game 1 is tonight, so I will definitely be locked in. But I want to dive into your career. Like I said, a legend here. And we actually had our guy Steve Kim comes on weekly, sports journalist, a knower of all things, loves the Lakers. And he brought up one of the more underrated clutch shots in basketball history. I think he said it was Game 5, 1988. You guys were playing against, I think, the Jazz. It was like young Karl Malone, young John Stockton. And I believe you guys were down, I think, like a point with like 20 or so seconds left. Magic has the ball. He's coming down court. It looks like they're trying to set up a play for Kareem, but they kind of bottled him up so Magic couldn't get the ball to him. So Magic drives, tries to get, cut to the basket. He gets cut off. He swings it out to you, and I think it was a deep 2, like almost a 3-point, and you knock down a big-time shot, that helped lead you guys to I guess, winning that game. Do you remember that moment? And if so, could you kind of just walk us through, like, just how big that shot actually was in hindsight looking back?
Hey, cool. He don't think there's a back-to-back. He don't think that you win back-to-back without that shot is what his point was. Do you think that was true?
Oh, I agree. You know what? The funny part about that particular shot in that game, that series, is that Utah was slated to beat us, although I think we were the favorite, but they had, Stockton and Malone at their prime, Thurl Bailey. I mean, they were suited to win. And Smitty, that whole series, I had a horrible shooting series. I mean, that shot I hit, and I think I hit another one, which happened to be a layup, were probably my only 2 shots in that series because I think I probably was like 2 for 25 or 2 for 30. But what that play goes to show you is how much, and you see it in today's game, that players need one another. Magic understood I wasn't shooting well, but I was on the court because of my defense. So that was enabling me to stay out there. So when that play happened and Magic's going, and you're right, he was looking for Kareem. And Big Mark Eaton was over there, so they weren't going to get into Kareem. So Magic drove, and he does what any great player do. It's called drive and kick. Mm-hmm. And what a great player do will get in that paint and create that double team and kick it out to his teammate. Magic had a lot of confidence in me. That, I hadn't hit a shot, kicked it out to me. But you know what? I always believe, I tell my son now who's 20 years old, he's playing at UC Davis now, it's not about offense all the time. It's about your defense, and defense keeps you on the court. But when you're out on the court, offense is important too. So you have to have a short shooting memory. And I had missed like 3 shots prior to that, but I went in, Magic, he had confidence in me to kick it out. And my motto is, the next one will go in. As long as you've taken your shot, the next one will go in. And that's what happened. And I do believe that shot, we were able to win that game. That put us up 3-2 going back up there. And that allowed us to get by that series and initiate the back-to-back. So such an important game, an important shot, an important play. Thank you for bringing it up, Smitty, because I had never hit a game-winning shot to that, so I was like, yeah. I mean, I kind of kept myself composed because, boy, you had been 0 for 18 or something like that. So, but to hit that shot, but my teammates gave me a lot of love after the game, and that was a big shot and enabled us to go on and get past that Utah team.
Hey, I go to Dana and David. I go to Pump Brothers yearly, man, and I speak for them sometimes. And I was doing the Big 3 when it first started. I was with Michael Rappaport and Cuban. Then when it first started after the Netflix series I was on, and it was getting to see you all around town and stuff, man. It was always on. I never got to speak to you, but I wanted to ask you about defense in particular, since that's what you were known for. Like, let me ask you, in the current status of the Lakers, we got a guy like Luka, who's critiqued for not playing defense or moving his feet or getting blown by, but then on offense he's a juggernaut, and we all look at him as the next thing. Probably LeBron's probably passing the buck for the Lakers organization, etc. Where are you at with this current roster's makeup, and why don't we take defense serious anymore? And as you just said, if I'm having a bad night on offense, defense made me great on offense and give me energy. I got a steal, a dunk, whatever. What you're preaching to your son. Why don't we do that no more? Is it because we've become so 3-point savvy and that's what the game is, even with the 7-footers out here shooting threes, etc.? Has that just been changed with the Steph Curry of the world and all the things that have happened? Is defense just not a factor anymore?
No, it's very effective, Coach. Great question. First of all, let me talk about the Lakers and not talking about free agency, what other moves. Let's talk about, let's say the Lakers come back with this team. This team is good enough to win a championship. I think the key and the most important piece is what you're seeing in the transformation of Luka now. Luka looks in great shape. He's taking onus on being in good condition. And if he does that, you know, people used to say Magic Johnson wasn't a great defensive player. No, Magic wasn't a great one-on-one defensive player, but he was probably one of the best team defensive players. We used Magic to do doubles and things like that because he understood how to do it and he was always in position. So if you look at the game like that, all Luka has to do is when you're in good shape, you can contain the ball for 1 or 2 dribbles, and that's all he has to do. When you're not in great shape, then you probably sit there and the guy gives you a move and you go for it and he's by you, and you don't allow your teammates to get over enough time to help you. So with Luka in great shape, I know the Lakers are going to be great. Now, what he does if he's in great shape, one, it helps you get through injuries. 2, it keeps you on the court longer because, again, when you're in great shape and you tweak your ankle or you won't pull a muscle because you're fine-tuned. And now with his ability to stay on the court longer, now you're going to see more 40 and 50-point games from him. And I think that's what the Lakers are suited up about. And the Lakers, I really believe with the current team that they have, they can win a championship. And I'm going to say they can win a championship before the Boston Celtics can this coming season. And I'm a Boston hater all the way, so we won't get by that. But, Coach, back to your original question.
Love it.
The Lakers are fine with me. I think Coach J.J. Redick took accountability. And you know what? People criticize him for keeping the starters in that whole game. And you know what? As a young coach, he kind of went by an old motto. And I learned this when I was in the WNBA. If you're going to go down, if you're a coach and you think you're going to go down, you want to go down with your best players out on the floor, man. And in the day's game, these guys get paid. And I thought that process that he went through, that he let those guys, he thought that they could carry the boat. Had he won that game and everything went well, nobody would never say anything to him about that.
And I'm with you. I actually defended it on the show, and I was like, I was critical of the hire because he's never coached. So I was like, as a coach, I'm like, all right, that's number one. I criticized that, but then when he did that, I was like, listen, man, I thought we were in the load management era. That's why we took all these games off during the year, right? Like, if we shit.
Because they get paid good money, you got to let them go. You know what? I probably would have done the same thing because you're trying to get a win and you go out there with the best players. But no matter what all that happens now, I think the Lakers are suited. Obviously, they probably will make some changes, but I don't know, and I'm not in that talk with them right now, but I'm talking about the Lakers that I see today. And I think another thing that JJ took accountability for is that we were not a good defensive team. And I think as a young coach, you will come back and get better. You look at yourself, you make adjustments to yourself, you look yourself in the mirror and say, okay, I did this, I did that. You got a great coaching staff with you. You got 2 of the best players in the game, even though LeBron is at the end of his career toward the end. He's still one of the best players in the game, and Luka's your up-and-coming star. So all you need to do now is fit those pieces around. AR-15, Austin Reeves is going to be better, bigger and better next year. And I think the Lakers learned a lot about themselves. Now, when you talk about defense, that's why you have these 2 young teams in the game and playing for a championship, because defense wins games. And I just mentioned that, and I'll always mention that. As a coach, I always preach defense. But, again, you have to I don't think the Lakers really had a philosophy on how they were going to deal with pick and rolls, how they were going to force a player a certain way. And I think that's what Coach J.J. Redick is starting to understand now. So you got to come into training camp with a philosophy on what you want to do on certain plays. Those are the 2 biggest plays in the NBA right now, the pick and roll. How do you deal with that?
No doubt. I think you agree with this. I know you said defense wins game, but I know defense wins championships ultimately, and offense wins you the game here and there. The small battle within the war, offense wins those games, but defense, you guys won championships on the defensive end, just like all the great teams. Football, basketball, it don't matter. Defense wins at the end of the day, and that's why I think this will be addressed like he did address it at the end of the season. Real quick, this is a loaded question. You mentioned in the health and the injury and being in shape obviously helps you stay and fight off nagging injuries or being hurt versus being injured. I think being in great shape is a critical one. There was a video a couple years ago. You guys the old team that the Showtime era Lakers went over to Hawaii with the legendary Pat Riley. And he was like, whether it was for clicks and video or what, but he was like getting in your guys' ass like he was coaching you in the 80s. And it was a funny video. I saw it and I was like, it was comical. And yeah, and you guys went over to, I don't know if it was Hawaii, Maui, wherever, but you guys did a little thing. It was a great little reunion deal. And but like I was looking at it like, but that was really Pat Riley and Steve Kim, who's a historian, and he was brought this up. He thought that the three-peat possibly could have ended a little early when you guys went out to UC Santa Barbara, I believe, in practice that year. And he was running you guys tough. And I think B. Scott got a hammy. I think Magic got a hammy later on. And I talk to B. Scott's son all the time, T, man. I've become real close with him. So he mentioned it too. But you guys got a little bit banged up. And then it seemed like, did the team really go against Pat and his philosophy at that time, since you guys were all veterans at that time and you were like, all right, this ain't the way. We're getting ran down here. And then I believe he ended up getting removed as the coach after you lost to Phoenix that year. But was that something that was kind of butting heads? Was it a little bit of oil and water in the locker room at that time when you guys were already a little bit stuck in your ways?
No. I think that was a decision that came from management, Dr. Buss and and Jerry West. But, Coach Riley, probably the best coach I've ever played for. All through my career. I mean, I've had a great high school coach, my coach at JC and New Mexico. Coach Westhead was a good one too, but Pat Riley, being a former player, understood attention to detail. So what he was doing was he was trying to push us to do things that people didn't think we could do. And we became the first team in 16 years to repeat when we went 87, 88. And he wanted to do that again, following along the kind of the Celtic mystique or the Celtic tradition of winning championship year after year. So, I mean, we probably went a little too long, but we were ready to win. And it was just such an unfortunate thing. For me, I love practice. So we wasn't practicing hard for me. But, when you look in hindsight and you look back, it probably was. But, again, that wasn't why we lost the game. If it was going to happen, maybe Byron doesn't get hurt in practice. We play the game in the first few minutes of the game. Magic tears his. So Byron could have did the same thing. But, no, that Pat Riley, nobody was against Coach Riley. Again, going back to the reunion, that was Pat Riley, Jeannie Buss, and Magic Johnson that put that together. And Coach and Smitty, I'm going to tell you this. There's no other team in the NBA that could have done what we did and can continue to do. Because you know what? Yeah, there's a lot of discord on championship teams and teams you win. But you know what? In essence, we all love each other. We all were very good friends off the court. We had our disagreements on the court, but we never let that bother us, okay? Because we're all about one thing. So that reunion, man, was real special. Any player that had played on a championship team got flown over with his significant other, his wife, got flown over there, and we had a wonderful week, man. It was absolutely great. We're talking about doing it again because we're all getting up in age and stuff like that, but we're going to try to keep it a little closer, maybe Palm Springs or somewhere like that. But no other team could do that, man, and have the kind of time we had. The day was built on just camaraderie and being together. We ate breakfast. You had to come down and have breakfast together, whether it was just a piece of bread or some water, orange juice. So you had to come down. After that, there was a couple of excursions that we had throughout the day. Then you had to eat lunch together. And then you had like a little free time on your own. And then in the evening, we always had a dinner. And then after the dinner, we had this big old room where Magic loves bid whist, card playing and dominoes and all that. And then we had a karaoke machine set up. Oh, and you could, every night, everybody came down, had a good time. The ones that thought they could sing were singing, and you put your favorite song on. But you know what? It was about just the love of being together. And then before that ended, we had every player had to come up and talk and say something. And that was probably the most emotional thing to me, because Spencer Haywood, you know what happened to him back in the 80s. He had his issues and, he was kicked off the team, and Spencer came. And Spencer kept asking me the whole week, Coop, we're going to talk. What you going to say? I said, well, listen, when it's my turn, I'm going to just talk from my heart.
Right.
And Magic chose Spencer to be the last speaker that Saturday because we left on a Sunday to speak. And when Wood got up there and spoke, man, he came and he brought it. And I'm not going to say what he said because that was just an internal and very private moment for all of us. But it was a very touching moment. It was a moment that really, really showed you why the Lakers are considered like family. Because we all gathered around, and after he finished speaking, we all just it was like bigger than a group hug. I mean, everybody, all the players came out, man. We had Jim Jones there. The only ones that didn't come was Mike McGee. He had a personal issue. Jerry West had some things going on, and Mitch Kupchak. But Chuck Nevin, everybody was there, man, and it was really, really special. And that's what winning championships is about. If everybody from player – this time, you got 18 players on the team now, but back when we played in the 80s, you only had 13 guys, 1 through 13. Doesn't matter the importance. If you were the best player or the worst player, you were considered one of the players that was the glue to our team, and that's why we were able to do that. And again, reverting back to today's game, that's why I love that OKC team. I love that Indiana team because them young men love each other. They care about each other, and it shows on the court. It shows, and that's why those two teams are playing for a championship.
Cool. If I could ask, who put that whole thing together? Was that a collaboration that you guys all were just in group text like, hey, let's go to Hawaii, or was that a Pat Riley?
No, that was Pat Riley and Magic. They put that together, and I mean, it was they paid for everything was taken care of. Wow. And as you said, Coach Riley thought we were 22, 23 out there talking about, okay, let's go. Everybody looking at him like, man, are you crazy? I'm 59 years old. I'm 60 years old. I'm not trying to pull a muscle out here trying to play for these cameras, but it was fun because we did a couple of shooting games and stuff like that. And, you know, Coach Riley's on gippy knees too, so he's trying to – but it brought that youthfulness in us. And,
no doubt.
It was fun, man. It was a lot of fun.
No doubt.
No doubt. I love to hear. I have a question before I lose train of thought. We were talking about the importance of defense and how great of a defender you were. And then you also mentioned as well how you still hate those Celtics. So I got to ask you specifically with Larry Bird, how tough of a cover was it, you know, going back, having to guard Larry Bird in those finals, and even in the regular season game? Every time you guys, you know, matched up Lakers and Celtics, we knew you guys were going to go at it. And I know you were the one, you know, that had to guard them a lot. How tough was it guarding Larry Bird during those days?
You know what? It wasn't tough. I'll take that back. It was tough guarding Larry Bird, George Gervin, a young Michael Jordan, Dr. J, Andrew Toney, just to name a few. But the fun part I had about it is my individual challenge was out there, but I always knew in the back of my head is that, you know what, for some reason, if I get beat, somebody's going to be there to help me out so I can get back into play. And that was the beauty of our team. You know, I wouldn't count it as a great one-on-one player, but I could score on you one-on-one. I can get a shot off. I may not get my shot off, but I can get a shot off. So, but I won't get the shot that I want if I know that second wave of defense is coming. And that's the luxury I've always had. If I got beat, I knew Magic was going to be there. If Magic wasn't going to be there, Worthy was going to step up. Scott was somebody was going to help contain that player for a moment while he got by me so I can get back into play. And that enabled me to be the defensive player I became because, you know what, I knew that, okay, if I bite on that pump fake and he goes by me for a second, I got to turn to get back into play. But I know he ain't going to the hoop to make me look bad because my teammates got my back. And again, reverting to the day, if you look at that Indiana team, watching them kids get beaten, they run down them three-pointers because OKC and Indiana defend the three-point line better than all other teams have. But them players don't get wide open shots after that because that next person is stepping up. So that's how you play defense, and that's what I appreciate about watching these young teams play today in the NBA.
Yeah.
Cool. I got to ask you real quick. Like, there's not too many younger folks that I idolize at 49. The one I did idolize as a youngster and I looked to as a hero, I always said it was Kobe. Kobe to me was the greatest. To emulate MJ and do what he did almost, and all the clips out there that they look similar and how Kobe idolized him and did everything he did. To do that and do it equally or better than, to me, is even harder than it is to not steal somebody's stuff and do it. That's what people don't realize. And I think that playing with the most ball dominant player that I ever saw in Shaquille O'Neal has to carry weight. Meaning that Jordan got to play with the centers like Luke Longley and no shot at them, but it wasn't a Shaquille O'Neal who demanded the ball 30, 35 times a game. Does that hold any water or any weight with what Kobe did with Shaq versus what MJ did with just like a Scottie Pippen? I know Scottie Pippen wasn't necessarily a ball dominant guy, but unbelievable great. But like, does that carry any weight at all? Or am I just an idiot saying that?
Well, you're not an idiot because you got a double negative working over there, Coach. You're smoking a cigar, and I believe that's coffee you're drinking. So you got a whole lot of issues going on.
I try to talk to him every morning. I said, you got to slow down. It's too early to be doing that.
But listen, Coach, you said one thing that kind of like ruffled my feathers a little bit. Kobe was a hell of a player. I mean, a great player. Yes, he patterned his game after Michael Jordan, but you know what? There's only one Michael Jordan. So Kobe was never better than Jordan. He just did things Jordan-esque like in his own way. So let's get that straight first of all. But Kobe, man, you know, the thing about Kobe, when he first came to the Laker tryout, I had the task of working Kobe out. And they say, Coop, go out here and, work Kobe out. So what I was supposed to do is I was supposed to keep him away from the elbow, keep him away from the sweet spots. They were like, Coop, don't let him get here. Don't let him get there. When we went into the low post, I had to get him out of the low post. Let's see how he reacts to that. Now, I'm 41 years old. Still had a little funk left in me, but you know what? Not enough funk to mess with this 19-year-old kid. And that was the beauty of guarding Kobe, is that he was able to get to his spots. Now, he didn't hit all the shots. I was able to get my hand up and defend, but he was able to get there. At 19 years old, that is so very difficult for a young person to understand spots on the floor, because that's why Kevin Durant, LeBron, Luka, them guys that can score, all they got to do is get around their spot. Steph Curry, because if they get to their spot, they know that they're going to score. So to see that Kobe could do that at 19 and then to do what he did to flourish his career and become the player he became. And yes, you know what? Michael Jordan did play with a ball-dominant center one time. He played with Bill Cartwright. Remember, and Bill was one of them players that needed the ball, man, down the low. And everybody, and you know what? But great players succumb or sacrifice themselves maybe 4 or 5 shots to get the ball in there. You got to feed the beast. Shaq's the beast, man. He's one of the best. You're not going to win a lot of championships if you don't let Shaq touch it. So for those two players to do what they did and become as great as they became, and then Kobe just taking that lead, that lead for the thing from Michael Jordan, the torch, and carrying it on and doing what he did, that says a lot about Kobe Bryant as a player. You know what, Coach, I'm so glad you mentioned his name, because every time I think about him and missing him, yeah, we miss him on the court, but I was so ready for him to go on to expand and do the things he did off the court, being a great dad, how he could have been a great ambassador to keep leading basketball. And you know what, when you're alive, other kids have a tendency to look at you and, just think and not thinking anything drastic, but thinking, if Kobe hadn't had Michael Jordan, Michael's still here, There's some other kids that are missing what Kobe had to bring. But you know what? We got the life of video. We got the word of mouth from people like yourself and myself to talk about how great this guy was. And hopefully we will get to see another player. Maybe not, no, you'll never see another Kobe, like you'll never see another Michael, but you'll see another player that'll come on along that's going to ring that bell. And oh man, he looks so much like Kobe. He played like Kobe. And that's the joy and the sadness of him not being here. But you know what? He was one of the best. I wish I'd have caught Kobe Bryant when I was playing at 22, 23. Then it would have been another story, I think. But you know what? I got a chance to go against him at 19.
I think y'all would have went at it. You would have won your battles. He would have won his battles. I think it would have been a good matchup.
Hey, I love that take, man. Love that take. It's still surreal to me, man. That's just still don't believe it sometimes, man. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
But man, I love coming on, man. I can't thank you enough, Coop, taking some time out today, man. And hopefully we'll see you at the Pump Brothers in August, man, and hanging out. And if you end up making it, and shout out to you, and hopefully everything with the family's doing well, and much success to you, brother.
Thank you. And Smitty, you know what? The Pump Brothers, when they do their thing, they have a little groove going. They brought Snoop Dogg in last year, and Coach was standing over there just standing up because I guess he didn't have enough juice in him. But I'm gonna get him out on the dance floor this time. I'm gonna make it not like us, not like us.
Hey, cool. Hey, I'm from Compton, cool. White boys don't dance, we boogie.
You
No,
better not
gangsters
start
don't dance
sleepwalking
with
in there. I
boogies.
know that.
Gangsters don't
Hey,
dance.
guys,
with
love
boogies.
it. Thank you
Hey,
for
love it,
having
brother.
me.